And we are live on YouTube and Facebook. How is everybody doing? Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day on this beautiful Wednesday. It's just me today, so my apologies there. You don't get to look at Crystal's pretty face, just mine. And I've got this crazy crick in my neck, so I'm kind of like probably going to be looking at you all funny. But the crick in the neck, along with my back right now, is why I was motivated to talk about injuries and dealing with injuries while you're training and post training. We could do a whole conversation on preventing injuries proactively, but what do you do when you have the injuries? That's one of the story altogether. So let's dive into it a little bit. First off, let's just talk about one common misconception. A lot of people assume that when you have an injury, you should not train at all. You should take it off from the gym completely, not stimulate the muscle, not activate the tissue, and just take it off. I do not recommend that in most cases. Now, if you have a specific type of injury that would definitely get worse with some training, then obviously take it off. But a general injury, a slightly pulled muscle, something of that nature, then you're probably not going to be best off avoiding the gym entirely. You want to still get some blood flow in there. You want to stimulate that muscle tissue. You want to get that activated. So today, for instance, I worked out even though I have a pulled back from a couple of days ago and I'm not feeling optimal. I continue to work out and I feel like that is going to do a few things. It's going to help you recover faster and it's going to allow you to get back to the gym and fully recovered much more efficiently. So I definitely encourage you to not take the gym off completely. So don't do that. Also, there's a few other techniques as far as like icing and heat therapy, sauna use, things of that nature. I wish I had a sauna, but I do not. If I did, I would definitely be taking advantage of it. An ice bath would also work very, very well. BFR, so blood flow restriction training. Let's talk about that. A lot of people use that just simply for getting a great pump in your biceps or something of that nature. But one really good thing about BFR training, also known as occlusion training, is that you can put that on to restrict some of that blood flow and you're going to force more blood into the tissue. So you're going to get all the benefits that come with all that, tissue being dilated with blood, but you're not going to have to load up near as much weight on your spine, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons in order to achieve that same amount of blood flow. So a lot of people that are dealing with injuries will leverage blood flow restriction training as a way to take advantage and get that blood flow, but without any of the adverse effects of loading your spine or skeletal structure with a heavy load. So that's an option. All right, I'm going to jump into some of these questions here. We have got several people jumping on. What is up? What is up? What's up from PA? Thank you again for the great products. You bet. Thank you for supporting us. Sunny's on here. Dina's on here. You have to work through it lightly. That's how we were always trained in the fire department. Yeah, totally agree. Working through it slightly as well. CBD works well too. So it's interesting. I've never really used a ton of CBD products, but a lot of people use that for injury. I have however, had several CBD companies send me these really heavily dosed solves. I think it's pronounced it solve, basically like the muscle rub. And I used to use a bunch of Icy Hot, and now I've been using those CBD balms, and I can't really tell the difference, honestly. Like they've got menthol in them, or some of them have menthol, and I feel like the menthol is good. Plus, I like the way it smells. I'm not really sure that I can tell the difference from the CBD specifically, but I don't know. I can't really tell the difference when I try CBD anyway, so maybe I'm just not as reflective or not as receptive to it, rather. Um, Thoughts on carnivore OMAD from Craig here. So carnivore OMAD is totally fine. OMAD is totally fine. However, it just really depends on the goals. Like if you're trying to be in a caloric surplus and really focus on building muscle and ramping up your metabolism, then it's going to be very hard to get all of those nutrients in an OMAD meal, depending on where your caloric intake is. When I transition into more of a deficit and I'm not eating as much food, I prefer the OMAD meal because for me personally, it's more satisfying if you're truly satiated with one meal that's bigger than multiple meals that are smaller and always leave me wanting more. So like when I'm doing a competition prep and I'm in a cut, then I typically, once my calories get low enough that it doesn't really make as much sense to do 2 meals a day, I'll transition to an OMAD approach, and that works really well for me. All right, let's see here. One bad thing about not having Crystal on here is I'm going to probably miss some of these questions on Instagram if I'm not paying attention. Knee swelling after a pretty heavy leg day, slight plantar fasciitis. Any suggestions? I don't use knee sleeves or wraps yet. What do you do to baby it and stay injured? I would definitely encourage you to use knee sleeves and knee wraps. It's kind of funny because when I'm doing squats, I always use knee sleeves once I get to a heavier weight. Actually, not even a heavy weight. Like I'll put my sleeves on when I get up to 185, which is not heavy by my standards for me. I'll put my sleeves on once I get to 185, and I'll put my wraps on once I get up to 225 and beyond. So I'll have sleeves and wraps on, which a lot of people make fun of, but I've never had any knee problems, so I'm going to keep doing it. That just basically, it does a ton of different things. The main thing, it just keeps tension there, keeps everything really restricted and tight, and it also allows your joints to be warmer, so you're less likely to have an injury in that regard. Crystal jumped on here and she says, "Oh, hey, cutie. How you doing, baby? When you going to be here, by the way? Have you picked up Chad from the airport yet? I am curious." Here we go. Here's a question on IG. 4 injuries, I agree, but what are your thoughts about wisdom teeth? I need to have mine removed and dreading having to miss my workouts because of it drying out. I've heard of this dry socket is what it's called, right? Like dry socket when you get a tooth pulled, and I don't know. I've never had a tooth pulled, not even my wisdom teeth, so I don't really know what this feels like. But I've heard dry socket, if that is what you're talking about, is horrendously painful. In which case, I don't know what the best plan of action would be. I wouldn't think that training would have an impact on that, but maybe it would. I'm not a dentist and probably not the best person to ask. But I would hate to miss a workout because of my wisdom teeth. That would be a big frustration for me, for sure. Dr. Josh Axe, plantar fasciitis, watch his video. It works. There you go. Check out his video. It's probably on YouTube. I've been carnivore for 2 weeks and lost 11 pounds. I don't know if you were keto before carnivore, if you were following a standard American diet and then just went straight carnivore. If you were doing a standard American diet, eating a bunch of carbs, then you went carnivore, then a lot of that 11 pounds was most certainly water retention that you're flushing out. But if you were keto, I mean, people can still retain a lot of fluid on keto too, even if they're eating, especially if they're eating a lot of these crap keto products with a bunch of, a bunch of fiber in there that's not counted as their net carbs. That can cause you to retain a bunch of fluids. A lot of sweeteners can cause you to retain a bunch of fluids. So I don't know what you're doing prior to carnivore, but down 11 pounds is pretty impressive. So keep doing what you're doing. From Fatty to Natty Bodybuilder jumped on. What's up, man? How are you? Hi from California. How you doing? What are the questions we got, y'all? Throw them at me. Yikes, dry socket everywhere I look. It says avoid strenuous exercise, heat, not much exercise in general, etc. And I'm trying to figure out what I can get away with. I would imagine with something like that, you can most certainly tolerate some light resistance, maybe some resistance bands, some body weight, some calisthenics, something like that. Generally speaking, I'm not a fan of not stimulating the muscles in some form or fashion. By simply stimulating the muscles and getting the blood flow, you're going to do more positive things from an injury prevention standpoint than not. Now, again, you're probably not going to have to worry about your tooth recovering better because you're training, but I don't think you would want to not train at all, even if you're able to just do something super light and simple. I was on the bro diet. I'm very curious, Craig, how you define the bro diet. I know how I define the bro diet, and it's interesting because a lot of people are now doing versions of the keto diet, which when they describe it sounds very much like the bro diet to me. But if you could give me a one-liner sentence there as to what you would describe the bro diet is, I'd be very curious to see what the general consensus is on that. Hello, how are you, Chris? So continue working out, maybe lighter cardio. Yes. I think your question was the one that the video was referencing there. So let me see if I can find that. Look up Dr. Josh Axe plantar fasciitis and watch his video. That's what was recommended. So I would definitely check that out and see what you learn there. What do you know about diverticulitis or diverticulosis? And have you heard of keto helping or worsening it? Asking for the husband. Interesting. There was actually a really good podcast debate between Lane Norton and Paul Saladino on the Power Project podcast. It's a very old podcast, but if you Google Lane Norton debate Paul Saladino, a very good portion of that podcast was specifically devoted to diverticulitis and diverticulosis as it relates to the ketogenic diet and a plant-free carnivore diet. So I would definitely encourage you to give that a listen. I'm pretty sure, I haven't listened to it in a while, but I'm pretty sure in that regard, they were seeing benefits in the removal of vegetation that could fester and cause issues in the gut there. So I would definitely check that podcast out for the specifics, but that was the consensus from Paul Saladino's side. Mike says, many people who weight train see a chiropractor on a regular basis for pain and injuries. Thoughts? I've been to 2 or 3 chiropractors my entire life, and I personally haven't noticed a benefit from it, but I've only been to 2 or 3, and I haven't done it consistently enough to likely see benefit from it. A lot of the chiropractic, it depends. I'm not dove super deep into chiropractic care. I went to one, and it was only the upper vertebrae, so upper spinal cord, upper spinal column adjustment, which was interesting. And then I've been to some where they crack every part of you. And if you've got a lot of skeletal issues, that may be advantageous, may not be, I'm not sure. But from a musculature standpoint, I find more benefit in deep tissue massage than I do in chiropractic care, for me personally. But I don't really have very many joint, like skeletal issues. All right, let me see what we got going over here. Dylan Shamlin in the building. What's up, man? That's why your products stand out. They break the water weight barrier, no bloat like the crazy commercialized products out there. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know how much backstory y'all know about the bricks, but the bricks were never meant to be a product. They were simply meant for me to consume during my competition prep so that I would not get any bloat. So it's interesting to see all these bars out there creating so much bloat when my product was specifically designed to not create any bloat. All right, let's see what we got here. Just got a quarter cow and have a 6 by 25 ounce bottles of olive oil coming in. Can't wait to prep. That sounds freaking amazing. I've got a funny story about a cow. Are y'all ready for this? This is a very funny story about our homesteading endeavors. So, Crystal, who is at the airport right now picking up her brother, Chad just got a cow, all right? And he is based out of Washington State. He just got some land. He's like, you know what? I'm going to save on meat. I'm going to buy a cow. So he bought a cow. And then like 2 days after he bought his cow, the farmer called him up and he's like, you know what? Your cow is going to be much happier if it has another cow in the pen. So he's like, okay, I don't need another cow. Let me call my sister, Crystal, and see if she wants a cow. So Crystal picks up the phone and she's like, I don't know. What do you think, Robert? Should we get a cow? So I'm like, I wasn't really planning on getting a cow right now, but sure, what the heck? Let's go get a cow. They're going to have this cow. It's going to be, they're friends with their other cow. Everybody's going to be happy. Happy cows in a happy field. All is well. So we pay the money. We get this cow. The day the cow gets dropped off, the day our cow gets dropped off in the pen with the other cow, before the guy dropping the cow off leaves, the cow jumps the fence and runs away. So now the cow that we've bought is in no man's land missing, and I got no cow. So now I'm cowless, and I don't have a happy cow. Hopefully somebody turns in our cow. But that's my funny story for the day. Craig says, I was eating clean protein, good carbs, and good fat sources. Were you doing kind of like a eat every 2 or 3 hours, chicken and broccoli, kind of like super clean chicken and broccoli, maybe some rice, sweet potato kind of deal? That's typically what bro dieting is. At least that's how I've always done it in the past. I was doing bro dieting and played around with If It Fits Your Macros for years before I started doing keto. And it's funny because you see a lot of people in the keto space now going ultra high protein and kind of gravitating towards introducing more carbs. And it's wound up becoming very similar to what the bro diets that I used to follow look like. So I stopped doing the bro diet because keto was so much better for me. And now that I'm doing keto, the definition of keto has become so skewed over the years that now people are doing the bro diet, but calling it a version of keto, it's kind of comical to me, but totally different thing. Joshua says, I think you get more benefit from deep tissue in physical therapy. Yeah, that is true as well. I've never really had a good physical therapist. However, when we move to our new location in a few weeks, I'm going to be finding a physical therapist clinic that has like the cryotherapy, the red light therapy, deep tissue massage, like the dry needling, all that stuff, so I can find somebody local and double down on that. Michael says active injury avoidance through low inflammation diet and never pushing past pain. Stretching and regular sleep keeps me in the game, which keeps me from taking 2 steps back. 100%. Not getting enough sleep is probably one of the biggest contributing factors to people having injuries and nagging pain. So making sure you get enough sleep is super, super important. Kimberly says, holy cow. Yes. All right, what we got here? Oh man, bummer. That same thing happened to me with a goat. Oh no, you lost your goat? That's not good. I don't have a cow. It will return. Too funny. Yeah, hopefully it will return. That's my goal. What's up? How you doing? My friend loves your stuff. He's a big fan of you. It's his birthday today. Well, tell your friend that I said happy birthday and hope he has many more to come because birthdays are great. All right. Any other questions, yo? I'm probably gonna do a shorter live today because I'm gonna meet up with Crystal and Chad and pick on them about the cow situation. And we're also gonna drive up to Fayetteville and work on the building. By the way, new update on the building. The building is coming along fantastically well. I haven't done an updated video on that in a while, but Chip is going, our video guy, he's going to meet up with us on Friday, and we're going to film an updated vlog of the building and the house. And I'm excited to get that published because the new building that we're moving into in a few weeks, they've been really, they didn't really do hardly any work on it for a while. I was getting anxious, I was getting nervous because it's getting closer for us to start moving. And I'm like, man, they're not going to finish this in time. And we went up there here recently, and a lot of work has been done on it, and they're going to be working on it hot and heavy for the next several weeks until we move. So I'm excited to see the changes and show y'all the changes. My friend Annie Gurr says you changed her life. That is awesome. Tell Annie that we certainly appreciate it, and we are so very happy to hear that. And if she ever needs anything from us, just let us know. Robert, if you ever get your cow back, you should enter it into the Kentucky Derby. I know that I don't know if y'all follow with horse racing at all, but I used to be big into horse racing. And the last Kentucky Derby winner just got his title stripped because the horse, they tested the horse, and the horse tested positive for basically steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs in the horse. So it's funny that it's not funny, but it's crazy that all these performance-enhancing drugs, steroids, all the stuff that we hear about in the bodybuilding and health community are being used to dope horses in the horse racing community. Yeah, I don't agree with the newer keto. I'll admit that I am preferring higher protein, but I'll agree that it's not keto, but it is carnivore and zero carb, but I am not a fan of the carbs. Yeah, definitely not a fan of the carbs. And if people want to do higher protein, that's totally fine. I mean, honestly, like if you're looking at it from a gram standpoint, you can have more grams of protein than carbs, excuse me, and still have quite a bit more, still have a pretty heavy percentage of your total caloric intake coming from fat, even with more protein grams than fat grams. And I thought that offers a bunch of confusion to people too, but there's always that. Wow, my friend's name is Nick Gurr. Small world indeed. The only carbs I eat occasionally are your keto bricks. Those are my treat when everyone is eating sweets, and I love them. Yeah, I definitely don't feel, I never crave sweets. Like people have sweets around me, they have cookies, and I never gravitate to them. I'm excited to see what new products you will be releasing. Yes, we do have a few new flavors in the pipeline. It'll be a little while before they come out, but we have purchased ingredients for new flavors, and that is in the works. So that is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 20 minutes, so I am about to jump on and work on some stuff. Hi, superstars, saying hi from CrossFit. What is up, Sarah? How are you? Healing is so possible. It absolutely is. I will have a good day. I will let y'all have a good day. I'm going to grill a steak, get that in me real quick, and then I'm going to go work on the building. Hopefully y'all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to y'all next week. Take care, toodaloo, adios, and have a good one.